Well, good morning, YouTube friends. So here we are, headed for work again. It was a pretty crazy weekend. I took Friday off because I had a bunch of errands to run. I was going to work Friday, but I had a bunch of errands to run that I was going to do Saturday. And there was kind of a spur-of-the-moment decision Friday morning that we were gonna go spend the weekend in Spokane because my birthday was last week, and there's another couple that we're good friends with, and his birthday was last week, and there's one more couple that we're good friends with, and they were in Spokane to see Iron Maiden Friday night, and we all decided, they decided to stay, and we all decided to go out there and get rooms at the casino and just have a nice birthday celebration out there together, all of us. So that's what we did. It was a great time. I'm glad we went. Claudia and I took the bike, and it was a great ride. We left early Saturday morning. We got a good sunrise on the cameras as we were headed out to Spokane. We froze our asses off, and it was a pretty ride. It was a great day. We lost our asses at the casino. We don't normally gamble. It's really quite rare that we'll go to the casino. So Claudia and I each threw $100 in the slot machines and lost it all. But we had a nice room and we had some really nice meals out there. And then Sunday morning we headed back a lot less early. So that we wouldn't freeze our asses off. And it was almost 90 degrees out here by the time we got back, so we were sweating our asses off when we got home. And pretty much wore my ass out. So Sunday afternoon after we got home and got unpacked, I just took a nap on the couch watching TV and didn't get a damn thing done. On Sunday. So I've got a ton of footage I need to review, which I'm sure that'll all be done before this comes out. I didn't get to go through the parts for the Harley build this weekend and see what I have and what I need. I do, however, know that I'm missing an engine, and I know I want to put a twin cam in that. And we've got a twin cam at the shop that a couple months ago, well, more than a couple months ago, almost a year ago, I took it out of a Road King and put an S&S 111 in that Road King. And the twin cam that's at the shop had good compression and was running good when we took it out of the bike, but the pinion run out was too much to put gear drive cams in it like the customer wanted, and the boss talked him into a big 111, just a full crate motor from S&S. So that's what he did, and he just didn't want the engine that came out of the bike. So my plan when I bought this chassis was to buy that engine from the boss and put that in. Well, several months ago, the boss said he wanted, whatever he wanted for that engine, and wanted me to help him advertise it and get it sold. Well, I told a few people that we had it kicking around and what he wanted for it, and nobody bit, and it's been sitting there. So Thursday, I asked him what my price was on that engine, since, I figure I should be able to get a little better price than someone else. And he said, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to sell it now. I think I want to keep it. Let me think about it." And I didn't feel like playing games, so I ordered an engine Friday. And it's not just an engine, it's an engine, transmission, and primary with the drive belt still on. And it still has a starter on it. It still has an oil filter on it. The only thing that's missing is the intake manifold and the carburetor. Fully assembled and complete. I bought it off eBay. It's used. It came out of a 2000 Road Glide. Although I don't know if they made the Road Glide yet in 2000. So he might have meant Road King, but either way, it's got the right transmission that'll just bolt right into the bike. And unknown mileage, and he didn't tell me the displacement of the engine. It's either an 88 or a 96. It really doesn't matter to me which one it is, because my intent with this bike build is to put my wife on this bike. So I don't need a ridiculous, crazy torque monster, high performance, fire breathing motor for my wife to learn on. I just want it to run and move. If I was building it for myself, I might have gone a little crazier. But if she ends up not being able to pick it up off the side stand, or just doesn't want to ride it or whatever, then other things may happen. But at least it'll be a running and riding motorcycle with this engine and transmission in it. The transmission that I have that was originally in the bike actually was originally in a different bike. There were two bikes, and the two bikes became one bike. So I've got everything that was left over. So the better transmission went in the other bike. The engine out of the bike I have went in the other bike. And the transmission that came with the bike is pretty well fucked. Which is not a big deal. It's easy to rebuild. But as bad as the main bearing is, and the bearings in the main drive gear are, I suspect there'll be chipped teeth on the gears and whatnot, and that'll make it a whole lot less fun to rebuild. It'll drive the cost way up. Whereas now I've got a transmission that was running down the road before the bike it came out of got wrecked. So the engine I ordered came out of a wrecked bike. Has 150 psi compression on both cylinders, according to the ad, and was running and usable when they took it out of the bike. And the seller has an extremely good feedback rating. So it's eBay, but they've got a lot of sales and a really high feedback rating. So I feel like they're trustworthy, and I can believe what they say, because this is what they do, is they part out bikes and sell the parts. So we'll see what comes in. I should get it by like next Wednesday. It's coming all the way from the East Coast, so I'm just really hoping it doesn't get damaged in shipping. Probably, I don't know what it had for an ignition system in the bike, so I might have to come up with something for an ignition system to make the bike work with this engine, or vice versa. But I'll deal with that when the time comes. I got a really good price on this engine and transmission. I do plan to rebuild the forks and put new steering head bearings in it. And it's going to need new tires because the tires are from 2012. And I'm going to have a good look at my swing arm bushings and all that, but it's probably going to need swing arm bushings and all that stuff. It's got the old school conical wheel bearings in it, so I may pull the wheel seals and repack those and just put them back together, or if they're bad, I'll obviously replace them. So it's still quite a project, and I'm still looking forward to it. But yeah, like I said, I haven't had a chance to go through all the parts I've got, so I don't know exactly everything that's there. I don't know if I have a carburetor and intake manifolds and whatnot in that pile of parts I've got. If I do, awesome. If not, I'll see if the boss will sell me a used manifold and carb from the shop somewhere, because we may have some laying around. Or maybe I'll just buy new off JMP Cycles or whatever, since the boss wants to play games. But if he does have one that he wants to sell and it's in good shape, I'll probably buy it. There's a whole lot of ride footage from the Spokane ride. It's probably going to take quite a while to get through that and get it edited. If I was to make it all into one video, it'd be about 4 hours. So I'll probably just make a couple short videos out of it, or maybe one slightly long video, but we'll see. It's a lot of footage to go through, so it's going to take a while. This will probably come out before that does. Most likely I'll make several small videos out of it and just kind of hit the best scenery, because we had the batteries in the cameras died on us on the way out, and I hadn't charged the spare batteries, so I didn't have any more batteries to put in to film the entire ride to Spokane. When we got to the hotel, I charged all the batteries for everything and was able to swap out the batteries halfway back on the ride home, but one of the memory cards was full. So there's parts of the ride that have 2 cameras and parts that have 1 and parts that just aren't there because the batteries died. So I'll probably just make a few videos of like some of the best footage, because it was a pretty ride. And the other thing about that was that Claudie doesn't like the camera in the chin mount on her helmet, because it makes her helmet too heavy and pulls the front of her helmet down. So I just had the other camera mounted on the rack on the trunk, and so she wasn't mic'd up, so you can only hear my half of our conversations when we were talking. But regardless, it was a pretty ride, so I'll try and get some video of it out anyway. probably going to be in a foul mode this morning because I took Friday off. So we'll see how that goes today. As far as I know, I've still got a Honda Shadow 1100 that needs a carburetor rebuild sitting on my lift, and we need to finish the tuning on the 124-inch Road Glide. And I'm sure a few more bikes have showed up, but we'll see. We'll see what's there and what's been picked up and what's been dropped off and what's been done and what hasn't when we get there.